Backward, Dan?
You can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's have a roll call of the members present, please.
Councilmember Whitten.
I'm here.
Councilmember Conover.
Present.
Councilmember Biggs.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Jessup.
Here.
Councilmember Paparad.
Here.
And Councilmember Rivas. 6 present.
Thank you very much, Madam Auditor. Let's have first reading.
Notice to taxpayers of proposed additional appropriation. Notice is hereby given that the taxpayers of Porter County, Indiana, that the proper legal officers of Porter County, Indiana, will meet in the Porter County Government Administration Building at 155 Indiana Avenue, Valparaiso, on August 23, 2016, at 5:30 p.m. to consider the following additional appropriations in excess of the county budgets for the year 2016 and to transact any further business which might come before the council. General fund. Sheriff, 1130 overtime, $2,717.43. Sheriff, 1110 salaries, a reduction of $6,466.90. Jail, 1110 salaries, $6,394.60. Election board, 1120 hourly, $20,000. Voter registration, 1130 overtime, $25,000. Circuit court, 1110 salaries, $1,000. Local health maintenance fund, 3220 telephone, $3,260. Riverboat fund, 1241 longevity, $165,000. Tobacco fund, 1120 hourly, $30,000. 1210 FICA, $2,295. 3130 training and education, $5,000. Ineligible homestead fund, $3950. Contractual services, $160,000. General 4D incentive fund, $4510. Data processing equipment, $10,000. Parks grant fund, $3620. Building and structures, $10,000. JDAI grant fund, 1120 hourly, $37,002. 1210 FICA, $2,832. 2250 other supplies, $11,000. 3130 training and education, $1,415. 3210 travel, $1,706. 3950 contractual, $7,000. Park bicentennial fund, $3950 contractual, $73,143.82. Taxpayers appearing at such meetings shall have a right to be heard thereon. The additional appropriations as finally made will be referred to the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance, which will make a written determination as to the sufficiency of funds to support the appropriations made within 15 days of receipt of a certified copy of the action taken. Vicki Urbanek, Auditor of Porter County, published in the Chillicothe Tribune on August 12, 2016.
Thank you, Vicki. Scott, are you here for the commissioners?
Yes.
Come up here, because I want you to, while you're here. Scott had added some, the commissioners have added some transfers. I think while you're here, Scott, we ought to address those. If you go to your last page, I want Scott here when we do it. Commissioners have a series of transfers that were sort of late added, and I'll just go through them. Transfer $3,500 from salaries to longevity, transfer to supplement the first payment of longevity, transfer $430 to work comp, transfer to finish work comp payments to end of year, transfer $16,000 from buildings to furniture, over $100 office furniture for Judge Alexa, and lastly, but not leastly, $30,000 from hourly to contractual, and $25,000 from salaries to contractual. Legal fee line item is deflated.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second on the transfers. Discussion. Scott, is there anything you need to say about these?
No.
Okay. They all seem pretty straightforward. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Scott.
The only thing on the longevity, once the math was done for, I believe, farther down on your agenda for the longevity, this makes that work with this $3,500. So this plus that additional would be for the first longevity.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Judge Harper. So Judge Harper is asking for general fund circuit court, a few things, additional $1,000 to salaries, needs to update salary for employee Form 144, $31,145 to $32,145 for exec assistant, same employee. Transfer $250 from care of patients and inmates to psychiatric services, amount needed to cover competency evaluation performed on defendant. And lastly, a transfer of $700, from care of patients and inmates to furniture and fixtures over $100, amount needed to cover new lectern for court. What's your pleasure with these?
Move.
Second. Motion and second on the floor. Any discussion? I assume there'd be some. Sylvia?
I just wondered, was your $1,000 salary, Michelle, was she missed on our, she was. all
I
the
think it
time.
was missed last year. Remember last year I cut my budget a lot, but I had that $1,000 for her in that budget, and it just, the copy I got didn't have it.
Oh.
You know, so I thought,
So we're making it right.
I thought it was approved last year.
Okay. So that's right, we don't want to shortchange.
The lectern, ours is falling apart, and we want one with wheels, because we're tired of hauling it all over the courtroom. Guys are cutting their hands on it and stuff.
That's not good. Okay, Jim, did you have a question?
Yeah, Judge Harper, the psychiatric services, is that performed by Porter Stark?
Yes, and it's not performed on me.
He was thinking for us, maybe.
Well, your bill would be higher.
A lot of work. I have a question. You know, there's some, you know, over the years, the recent past, anyway, that there's been some discussion since Porter Stark receives its own tax levy. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Mhm.
And is there anyone on our end that's negotiating these fees outside of that?
We talked to them about what they would charge us. $250 for a competency is not very expensive. For a clinical psychologist, PhD clinical psychologist.
Mine was a lot more.
Your bill is sky high.
And you're not done.
That's what I'm saying, I'll do all. It does seem awful cheap, though.
Yeah, I know they get a lot of money from the county, but we have to get these things done. There really isn't another good source to request to do the service than Porter Stark. We need psychiatrists, we need psychologists. They got them.
I'm just wondering if we're receiving a rebate of sorts, for lack of a better term, because they are receiving tax dollars, or is this their going rate for?
I can't tell you if they charge like a defense attorney more. Okay, I can't tell you
Good to
that,
know.
but this is not very much.
Okay.
I'm not really want to get in a fight with them over that, and we'll have a few more competencies because there's a lot of crazy people out there. But
Well, that's good.
You can't use that word.
She just.
Well, if I can speak to that just a little bit, I mean, my experience with meeting with Porter Stark over their budget issues, in looking at some of their finances, money coming in, money going out, some of the hardships that they've hit with money streams, the things that they charge us for are pretty competitive. And I must say that they do charge us less than they charge other folks. They do. At least historically they have, and I think that's part of it. I think that goes into the mix. So
we found them to be a good partner.
Yeah.
You
So I
know,
do
they
think
help
this
us
is
a lot.
cheaper. My guess is, just based upon the history that I've had with them in their budget stuff, that,
Well, the question was asked. I was asked a question. I didn't have an answer, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. I would tell you that there's a lot that they do that they don't charge for. For example, they send their director of adolescent services to every drug court hearing that we have, and we're not getting billed for that. They're just helping us because so many of our drug court kids have mental health issues, and so they're giving us that perspective, and they do it for free. They come out to detention a lot for kids in crisis, or if we have, a bad situation happen when the boy died, maybe when a staff member is attacked, and, we've got to do some crisis counseling for the staff and or for the kids. They come out and do that, and they don't charge us for that kind of stuff.
Okay. It's the kind of stuff we need to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
okay, so we've got a motion and a second on the floor as to the additional 144 and the two transfers. Let's get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Conover?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen?
Yes.
Paparad.
Yep.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
6 in favor.
Thank you very much,
Good evening.
appreciate it.
Juvenile detention, DOC JDAI grant, additional $37,002 to hourly, $2,800. $32 to FICA, $11,000 other supplies, $14.15 to training and ed, $17.06 to travel, $7,000 to contractual services for new grant allotment awarded for 16-17 year. On that vein, we have a home detention case manager up to $10 per hour, teen court case manager, too, up to $17 per hour for a new grant allotment awarded for 16 and 17. What's your pleasure?
Make the motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second, I assume, as to all.
Yes.
Any discussion? This is all grant. Great
Okay.
work. Well done.
Is this an annual grant?
Actually, this is a surprise for us. We received our 2016-2017 regular JDI grant that we expected, and then all of a sudden, we got a letter from the state saying we did such a good job, they're giving us an additional $59,000
That's wonderful.
to tweak what we do and to improve on some of the services we already provide.
John?
So, should we not plan on this the following year, you think, or?
What they have told us is that they are going to do evaluations on us every year, and it's based upon a quarterly and an annual type of review and a formula situation. So they said as long as we're doing a good job, they're going to continue to give us some funding. Might not be $59,000, it might only be $20,000. It just depends. But they said as long as we're doing a good job, we will probably expect further funding each year for a few more years.
Do the case managers become full-time employees, or are they going to stay out?
We are not anticipating that, and actually what we've been looking at doing is utilizing students at VU, because then we know that they're going to be around during the school year, and they're probably not going to end up being full-time employees or even part-time employees later down. So, and it gives them the experience, and it gives us the extra hands we need in the meantime.
Thank you.
Okay,
Very good.
wonderful.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
and Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's out of town. Highway Department, MVH Motor Vehicle Highway, a transfer of $3,000 from calcium chloride to uniforms and clothing, $500 from drainage assessment to office supplies, and another $9,000 from aggregate stone to uniform and clothing for biannual clothing allotment and supplies to finish year. What's your pleasure?
Move.
Second.
2 motions in 2 seconds. Any discussion?
David, you still have a lot of blacktopping to do, say, in the subdivisions yet, don't you?
As of this afternoon, we found out in the Commissioners' meeting from Representative Ed Soliday that we got our $1 million cross-match. And
Great.
so we've got another $2 million yet to spend, weather permitting. We'll spend $2 more million.
I'm sure you know where to spend it.
Yeah. We've got it all planned out. We had to send in the 19 projects to get that, so we're good to go.
That's
See what happens.
wonderful. Great news.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfers are approved. Have a good evening. Yep, Sheriff, General Fund. There's a lot going on. Sheriff. Additional $2,717.43 overtime special services overtime reimbursement. Reduction $6,448.60 from salaries, salary restructuring. A whole series of 144 requests, reasons, salaries, restructuring. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. So you're basically, it's no new money, you're just sort of organizing the office to try to...
Cross-training, which is really important, and Edie was telling me this morning that you actually will save over $10,000 in insurance.
Oh, that's good.
Did somebody leave?
Somebody did leave.
And I think, normally we would say let's wait till budget time, but we're close, and this gives us a good idea as to what to budget for, quite frankly. So, any other questions or concerns? Let's get a roll call.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Jessen,
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
And Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
0.
All right, then we've got the general fund jail, additional $63,9460 to salary restructuring, again, at 144, with 2 different requests. Again, salary restructuring, same deal.
Mm-hmm.
Dave?
Yes.
What's your pleasure?
Move.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please. You guys have roll call.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Councilmember Jessen?
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten?
Yes.
Councilmember Conover?
Yes.
Councilmember Diggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
0.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Election Board. General Fund Election Board, additional $20,000 hourly. Additional funds needed for election expenses. Workload from the election is more than anticipated. We'll need to bring in additional part-time. And then we also have the same kind of request from voters registration, $25,000 overtime, same reason. What is your pleasure? I know there were questions on this, so you still have them, fire away.
How many people are you bringing on board part-time?
Right now, we have, I think there's 8 in the office right now, trying to help us catch up.
And I think that, from what I heard, that the state sent you like 5,000 cards or something.
Yes, we had a voter, it's called voter list maintenance. For some reason, the state decided to do this on a federal election presidential year. What it is, I'm sure you all got your little postcards verifying that you registered to vote at your residence. Well, we had over 5,000 that were returned for people that have moved either out of the county, they've moved within the county, and we have to update their registration, change their name, on top of the 10,000 registrations we have alone in our office. So that kind of pushed us back pretty far on just getting the voter registrations out in a timely manner. So we had to bring our part-timers in a lot sooner than we usually do, and had to start working over a lot sooner than we usually do. With the VLMs, the voter cards, and the registrations, we've actually processed 17,000 registrations since July 1st.
How much do you pay your part-time workers?
Between $9 and $12 an hour, depending on how long they've been there and worked with us, if they're absentee, travel board, stuff like that.
Now, is this, are you talking about the election board request or the voter registration?
I'm talking about
Election board.
election board.
Okay, that's just because it's an election and you need more part-time.
Right, correct.
We're talking
On the
about
overtime for
cards.
the voter registration, it's kind of
No.
The reason- yeah, but-
Well, it's skewed because-
The reasoning is the same for both requests.
Yes.
in there.
Right.
So they're saying there was unanticipated
Correct.
workload increase. and
So,
expenses.
but the election board request is the same as the voter registration, they just split it apart.
Well, the reasoning
Right.
certainly is the same.
Yeah, the reason, the overtime actually in the voter registration actually covers the part-time, our absentee, our travel board from the election budget, and our office. It covers all, I know,
Okay.
why.
Okay, your office is 4 employees, right?
Mhm.
How, if we grant this request, how will this budget then compare to 4 years ago?
To the 2012 budget?
Yes. And I know that, and then we can talk about the 08,
Mhm.
which was really out of the box.
Yeah, I didn't grab the 2012, because I grabbed the 2008, because that seems like it's
Okay.
being kind of on
Use that.
track. And 2008, we spent $60,000 in overtime, between both elections. And then for the hourly, we spent, just the hourly, not including absentee boards and all that, it was $45,000. that
So
we
with this,
spent in
these
2008.
requests, have we already approved, though, and these line items? And this just bumps them up more? So how will the end of the, sort of the end of the day compare?
For this, for the overtime, that'll bring us up to the 60,000
All right.
that we spent, we spent in '08.
Okay.
And then for the hourly, it'll bring it up to more than, but we've already spent more than we usually do.
How much more than?
That'll bump it up to, we're approved for hourly at 40,000, and that 20 would bring it up to 60. And we've already spent over 20,000 in hourly.
Okay, but do you not have 2 less employees this election than you did 4 years ago presidential?
2 less full-time, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And we're hoping that we won't have to use so much overtime. We brought more part-timers in to try and train them to cut down on the overtime so that they're not working so many hours. We've been trying to limit their hours so that way that they're not getting paid overtime. More people, but less overtime, so that's why the hourly's bumped up more than...
Yeah, we don't want to short-sheet the election, I mean...
No, you're on the ballot.
Yeah, I don't want to not have enough time or help to, make sure you're on it.
Right, that's right, yes.
Sonny, who's entitled to the overtime of request for $25,000? Who qualifies for that?
That's everybody, the full-time employees as well as all of 8 of the
Does
part-timers.
that include you and Kathy as well?
That's me, Kathy, Jeannie, all 4 of us. Like I said, the absentee board, the part-timers, the travel board, anybody that we use in the office comes out of that overtime money.
There was a question whether or not exempt, non-exempt, this recent law that was passed, when it goes into effect. I'm glad Pam is here.
Yeah.
Those positions, Sunday's and Kathy's positions, are they allowed overtime?
Are they exempt or
I
non-exempt?
am
That's your
guessing
question.
that they are exempt. However, effective December 1, the amount of money that you have to earn to be exempt is going up. So that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, but the question is, that this will all be said and done by December 1. So the question is, I think what Jim is alluding to is, are we approving overtime for exempt employees?
Right.
That's his question.
Okay, you guys, I don't know, you guys have always, during, the commissioners and the council's always allowed overtime just during election time.
It does.
What?
It says exempt on your job description,
I
she
don't know.
said. So,
Well, the question is, by law, can we give them overtime? Can we allow them overtime?
They're exempt, you don't have to give them overtime, but you can always give them more, you just can't give them less. So, yeah, you can give them overtime if you want to. Are you talking about pay or hours?
we're not talking about flex time, comp time, we're talking about overtime pay.
If they're exempt, they really aren't entitled to
Right.
overtime pay.
Because they do not have a set hourly.
Yeah, there's a whole long
Rate.
discussion about the
So
wage
they-
concepts, yeah.
they
I don't know how you would-
Criteria under the Fair Labor Standards
You
Act.
see what I'm saying, Sunday?
No.
Because you're salaried,
Mm-hmm.
you do not have an hourly wage. If you don't have an hourly wage,
How do you pay them overtime?
How do you get
How do you
overtime?
pay them
Yeah.
overtime?
right.
I don't know, we've always had the overtime and the hourly wage, they've always
Here's the deal. I
had
mean,
it.
You're either exempt or you're not. I mean, and being exempt carries with it some benefits. You know, working partial weeks, still getting paid for the week, that sort of stuff. Leaving, if you had to leave at 2, you know, you still get paid for the day. Those are the benefits of exempt status. But
We've
of course, the
never.
negative of that is that, you know, you're not entitled to the overtime pay. So I guess that's the real question. And I think we probably need to get an answer to that question. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
know
we've
how-
always-
I mean, either way, you're going to need, if you're telling us, I guess here's the question. I know what you're saying. I don't.
Yeah, we've always been structured at the 35-hour work week with,
Right.
you know, if we take the day off, we either have to make it up in comp time or use our vacation days.
And
I
that's
mean, we're
fine.
allotted vacation days and all that, so it wouldn't make,
Well, you're allowed
Sense of-
vacation days. You
right,
can
but if we're
take
exempt, we can come and
exempt
go as we please, then why would we
Well,
get?
it's not exactly true. You
Well-
can come and go as you please.
Well, I mean, that's what you're saying, if you
That's
leave it
no,
to
that's
then-
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That is not. an
Okay,
example.
well, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I
It's
say something?
somewhat,
I've been looking a lot lately at job descriptions and Fair Labor Standards Act and stuff, and there's a huge misunderstanding within all the departments in the county about what's exempt and non-exempt, so, I'm not surprised that Sunday does not understand.
Okay.
I'm just saying that on her behalf.
Right. Well, and this isn't an indictment on her or Kathy, quite frankly. We're just trying to figure that out. I mean, they do a great job. This is an indictment on your performance.
The problem is, if her and her cohort say they're exempt, at 4:30 they go home.
Or not.
But my point is, if they stay over, are we circling back to that whole comp time?
We get into flex time and
Right,
comp time and all that
I
kind of
mean,
discussion.
I guess after December 1st, it's a moot point, correct?
Well, depends on what they make.
But that,
The income threshold goes up.
yes,
Okay.
we're having theoretical discussion.
So,
It's gonna be-
so I guess as we peel back the layers of this onion, it just makes you want to cry. I guess the question is, let's just assume for a moment, let's just assume the worst. Let's assume that you and Kathy are not entitled to overtime. let's just say that, as our HR
By
director
law.
correctly noted, yeah, you're not entitled to it, there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. Does that lower the amount then that you're requesting, or would you just have to have other people work those times? Or would you work it for free?
Work it for free?
I mean, you don't get overtime. Your salary is your salary.
Sonny, how much of that 25,000 is for you and Kathy?
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, which I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure, I would never broke down exactly what each person
Which probably,
got per,
you probably need to, just because of the exempt versus non-exempt status.
Okay.
You guys probably need to get in there and call it out and figure out how much money you need, or how much you were anticipating needing for those individuals, you and Kathy, who would be considered exempt, and everybody else.
But Dan, I gotta ask the question that Jim raised. How do we know how does anybody know what her time and a half rate is if she's salary?
Right.
That's right.
Who said
Time and a half times
who
what?
said that rate?
We don't have to go that far.
Well, no, how did she turn it in? Let's say we approve this for her to get overtime. What does she turn in?
She probably takes her paycheck and divides it by 40, and that's her hourly.
which is what they've been doing. We got overtime in the primary, so I mean,
Well,
they've always made an exemption to our office because we get comp time 99% of the year. But during the election cycle where it starts to get busy, because we had so many problems with not being able to use up all our comp time,
well, I'm sure
that they
there's some kind of
decided it
equitable
was okay
way
for us
that-
to have it, but.
What I'm more concerned about, from a liability standpoint, and from a fairness standpoint, historically, what have we been doing here with exempt employees? Have any of these positions been receiving overtime, or?
Sounds like they have.
Yeah, because I've been here in 2008, we have.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
We don't pay overtime, generally speaking, but there's some that are falling through the cracks. Pathway, election board, and voter registration.
Well, the question's been asked, the question's been posed, the question is on the table, we didn't answer. We're probably not going to get that answer necessarily tonight, but it is a question that Jim raised and others, quite frankly, before the meeting. So we probably need to have an answer.
Dan, just like we would, if some people getting a no pay day or no pay because they left or did not work 35 hours, what we would do is tell them an hourly rate that comes in the amount of weeks and hours that they should have worked.
So like for an exempt employee, you're not deducting partial day.
I'm not, it very rarely happens.
So that would be not good. Okay, well, we're talking about exempt though.
Well, for the record, I'm not in favor of paying an exempt employee overtime. I think that, I mean, I am in favor of you certainly being paid a salary that is fair, in relation to what you're doing. And if that's what we need to do here in county government, is to adjust your salary so it reflects that responsibility, that's what we should do.
But Jim, here's the deal, we're probably going to have to face that anyway, because it's what all my corporate clients are asking. What do I do about this? Well, you can raise their salary to above the threshold, or they're not exempt. I mean, so we're going to be facing that anyway. So whether we feel like that's the fair and equitable thing to do or not, the federal government does.
Can I go to 45,000?
Quite frankly, there really isn't a lot of consistency about how it's been administered.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that tonight. We're not going to do that tonight. So what do you want to do with this? What's your pleasure?
Well, do we need them to come back and sort out what the exempt employees might possibly need to work and make versus the temporary help that is working overtime?
So I guess the question I would have along that vein is, if we put this off to our September meeting,
Too late.
is that, I mean, are we too far down the road because there's so much work that's being done between now and then that you need the money for, or are you anticipating this to get us through November election?
I'm anticipating this to get us through November, I mean, but as far as when we're gonna run out of it.
You think that you'll need more?
Dan, I'll make a motion, we approve both requests, and we will circle back in a month to the exempt, non-exempt discussion. They're giving money now so they can keep going with the voter registration, et cetera, et cetera.
And cleanup work, yeah.
And we'll clean it up next month when we get a clearer picture of the mud.
So on this particular overtime line, I don't disagree with that, Bob. Original budget 35,000, they've expended 17,000. So there's another 17,800.
I talked to somebody before the meeting, the state dumped all them cards
I have a question.
out of the blue.
Defining the exempt and what they're entitled to, positions in county government, wouldn't that be a decision on the Board of Commissioners?
I just want to make sure we have an honest election.
Not
No.
not really. Depends on what they're,
I mean, isn't that policy?
yeah, but you can't policy somebody, if somebody falls into, well, I don't want to get into that, I'm not going to give legal opinions here. There's a motion on the floor, I'll second it. Now,
I'm wondering.
I don't know.
This is
Why
a mess.
why are they getting more?
Yeah, the commissioners would have some.
Why are they getting more than?
Yeah, I think it's county policy, and I think
Why is
the
full-time?
executive board is the one.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful, if you have somebody that, well, if you have, I would say yes and no, and I don't wanna get too far into this, but if you have somebody that you're characterizing as exempt because of your policy, but they truly don't qualify under the Fair Labor Standards Act, and they're not really in that exemption for exempt, I don't care what your policy says. If they fall within that exemption to overtime, you're putting yourself in harm's way. That's the short
I
answer.
don't disagree with that, but I don't know whether that's been established or
Could I have
not.
a question?
Yes.
I'm wondering, your part-time, you're utilizing, and you're not asking for as much money for your part-time as you are for your full-time workers. The full-time, you're asking more,
What do- I-
25,000, and you're wanting 20.
That's not just for our full-time workers. That 25,000 covers our full-time, our part-time, absentee, travel board, that's everybody. That's not just us four.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all, the whole entire election.
And that election board is
Process.
just part-time people, right?
Okay, so let's do this. Let's just move this, let's wheel a little further down the road. We got a motion and a second on the floor. I do think that Bob is correct in that between now and our next meeting, I think our attorney and our HR director, and at least these two individuals, need to have some conversations about what their anticipated plan is for themselves with this money, and whether they are entitled to overtime or not, and he can report back to us at our next meeting whether or not they are. And if they're not, they're not. And if they are, they are. There. The law is the law. So.
Thank you.
Well, Bob's got a motion on the
And I
floor.
Right.
second. So let's get a roll call.
We have to fund this going forward.
Well, that was the motion.
Irregardless, right.
Yes,
Right,
that
the
was the
motion
motion.
is-
Listen, in 2008, we had some unexpected turnout, which is surprising since I, in fact, was on the ballot then, too. You would expect people to know. But they didn't, and so we had a really high turnout, and we were really scrambling there, and we don't want that to happen.
Right.
So I appreciate what you're coming in front of us with, and I do need to get ahead of that, and we'll sort out the other stuff.
Dan, can I ask,
Sure.
so the motion on the floor is to approve the transfers as requested?
The additionals, yes.
The
At the same time, we're saying
Clarify.
we're not certain as to what that means, or can we,
Well,
will we do it, or?
Well, I think what we're saying is, they're saying that, she's saying that some of that stuff has been set aside for her and Kathy, but not all of it, first of all, and that they need additional funding for hours that are going to be needed to get the job done. So so either way, we've got to appropriate some money, because there's going to have to be somebody doing it. And if, in fact, it's not them, or if, in fact, they work the hours, but they're not entitled to paid overtime, then they can't share in this money.
And we're saying if we don't appropriate the additional tonight,
We're going to fall behind the curve?
it's going to stop,
Well,
we can't wait till
Well-
next meeting?
Well, that's the question, I already asked that question, but answer it again. If this were put off till September, would you have sufficient funding to get that far along? And I would think, by the way, Sunday, I think you would want to know the answer to this question. I think you
For the exempt and the, yeah, of course
I think- I think
yeah.
you would wanna know.
Of course they want to know. We've expended, we have 19,000 left in hourly. That's the one I'm worried about the most. I don't want to not have money to
So
pay
voter
for our
registration?
part-timers, yes.
Or
In our
the
hourly, in our
election
hourly budget. So, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say, yes, we have enough money, and then not have enough money to pay somebody.
No, we have to have enough money to pay.
Mhm. No, it's 22. It's,
See, that's what I'm getting.
10, 21, it's, yes, oh, wait. Yeah, hourly is election board, sorry, it's 11,200,21.
That's, I mean,
And you guys, I don't have access to anything like that to see what we pay,
we have a balance in the one.
like part-timers.
We have a
so that
balance
we
in the one of
know
19,786.
A month later. Right, that's what I'm saying, I would think that would take us to September, but
Can we amend the
I'm not
motion to
gonna-
say, we will pay what is needed to pay to get us through to September where we can make a finalized decision?
Yeah, that's a recipe for.
Up to that amount?
Why don't, we could, but that's the idea anyway.
What if we separate the hourly and the overtime? It's separate, it's two separate, so
Or we
that way,
just- or we can just separate
so that
the-
way you guys can vote on the hourly, because the hourly is not what you have a problem with, it's the overtime.
So you're not, yeah, so that's a good
And then we'll
point.
come back for the overtime in
withdraw the
September.
Motion second and withdrawn, let me get a number.
I'll make a motion on the election board for the 20,000 additional for,
I'll second that for discussion. Any further discussion?
No. Nope.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Paparad,
yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Conover,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chestnut.
Yes.
6-0.
Thank you. And then on the general fund, voters registration, I get a motion to table that to our next meeting?
So moved.
There's a motion, a second. Any discussion?
Scott and Pam,
No, Harold.
or Harold and Pam,
Scott's yesterday's
Could you-
news.
could you give us, put something so we get an answer? And I know Dan had said
I know.
something a little slightly different, but I still say that this is county policy, comes out of county policy, because you said we can't pay them less, but we can pay them more.
And that's what, that's under the federal law.
Right,
You can't pay somebody less than what the
Right.
federal law says.
right.
You can always pay them more.
Okay, but I want to do what is consistent with county policy, because if we're not consistent with this, we're going to have other department heads in here saying, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right.
Yeah, but listen, if the commissioners came back to us and said, we want this individual to be exempt, so they get all the benefits of being exempt, but we also want you to pay him overtime, I'm not gonna like that very much,
Well, I wouldn't either.
because
Well, I
you're cutting it both
That's the
ways.
distinction between exempt and not exempt,
Yeah.
is whether they get
Yeah,
it.
well, you don't speak for the commissioners. I mean, we're talking about the commissioners here, and I understand where you're coming from, because you're looking at an HR perspective, but he's talking about the commissioners establishing policy. So we'll address that when the time comes. All right.
It'll get worked out, Sunday, it'll get all worked out.
Veterans, General Fund, Veterans Affairs, $700 from training and ed to contractual services, has been state mandated that we go paperless. Worst things could happen. I'll make the motion.
Good evening.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor, you were going to say something.
I just wanted to say that the transfers from our training and education, and it is mandatory, federal has been going paperless for the last 2 years, and IDVA, or Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, is following suit. And we are buying these signature pads, which will help us retrieve information, for progress reports and also decisions, so we can pass it on to our veterans community, so.
Sounds great. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Keep up the good work.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Health Department. INLHDTA, Tobacco Fund. $30,000 to hourly, $2,295 to FICA to cover hourly personnel, RNs, clerical, food services, and environmental through the end of the year. Also in that same fund, $5,000 to training and ed, inadvertently omitted line item in 2016. What's your pleasure with the
Motion to approve.
tobacco fund? We have a motion
Second.
and a couple of seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Justin.
Yes.
And Councilmember Paparad.
Yep.
6-0.
Health maintenance, additional $3,260 to telephone for additional full-time employees added to the PCHD cell phone reimbursement roster. In addition, transfer of $500 from postage to shop supplies to purchase additional testing supplies needed for food service and environmental. What is your pleasure?
Move. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Justin.
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad.
Yes.
And Councilmember Rivas. I'm sorry, Councilmember Whitten.
I immediately forget. But not always.
You can. You've been doing a lot of things.
And if you guys would,
I told Beth we should probably meet and go through your budget, so she said she was going to coordinate, just let me know.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Stormwater, transfer $1,500 from salaries to legal notices to pay for the public hearing cases, legal notices published in the paper. That's Stormwater 1180-0000-24.
Move.
I bet you all been really busy.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Jen thinks you've been busy.
We have been very busy.
Very good. Keep up the good work. Any other insightful comments other than Jen's? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Prosecutor 4D, incentive fund, additional $10,000 to data processing equipment for wireless router, monitors, and cables. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Justin.
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
6-0.
Good evening. And the prosecutor, transfer of $10,000 from contractual to law books. Not enough funding for bills through the end of the year.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Gotta have those law books. Want to follow the law. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. See y'all later.
Night.
And is Walter here?
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Parks and Rec, additional $73,143.82, Sunset Hill Farm Garden. For Bicentennial Nature Trust pass-through for Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore, that's simple enough. Sunset Hill Playground, $10,000 for playground equipment, transfer $67.48 from contractual to other supplies. For materials for new concrete canoe. That seems a little counterintuitive, a concrete canoe.
Close.
It works. And then Parks Operation Fund, $6,300 from other supplies to event expenses to pay invoices erroneously coded to other supplies.
Move. Second.
I assume that's on all requests?
Yes. Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Justin.
Yes.
Councilmember Paparad.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
And Councilmember Biggs.
Yep. Yes.
6-0.
Good.
Thank you.
I expect a lot of responses to my concrete canoe. I didn't expect it floats.
It does. Check it out. South Burlington University donated it, the engineering club. They're an award-winning engineering team, and they donated a concrete
How thick
canoe.
is it?
It's several inches thick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's big. Yeah, come check it out. It's really
Paddle
cool.
do you use with that?
Concrete.
You imaginative kind. Imaginative kind.
Auditor, ineligible homestead fund, $150,000 to contractual financial payroll software upgrade.
Yes.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
And a second.
I was able to do that because I heard it this afternoon.
Any discussion?
It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Really.
That's
Long overdue.
Roll call, please.
Okay.
Councilman Jackson.
Councilmember Justin.
That'd be a yes.
Okay.
Councilman Biggs.
Hold on.
Yes.
Councilman Wynn? Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Councilman Conover.
Yes.
Councilman Graham.
Yes.
Councilman Rivas. I'm sorry, Cockrod's out there. Councilman Cockrod.
Yes.
6-0 passes.
Thank you.
Council, additional $165,000 for longevity, first payout for longevity.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor, any discussion?
Right there.
The state will not approve it because we advertised based on what we thought we needed. We just received the riverboat distributions, and there's not enough for the funds, in the funds to pay for longevity. That is why we needed to do the transfer earlier.
The other one, 3,500 made out the difference.
So you could either approve it at 165, the state will cut it back to 161,612, or just approve the 161,612.
Does it matter? Does it matter? Which would you prefer?
Approve the 161,612.
Can I get an amended motion?
Amended motion. Amended, yes.
Does a second concur?
Yes.
Question, we
Yes.
advertised 165.
We can go lower.
We can go lower than that.
Okay.
There's an amended motion and a second on the floor to the revised amount.
Make sure all the attorneys knew.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Paparad,
Maybe, yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Councilmember Conover,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Jim? Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Hope I didn't say it too
Council, President,
Yes.
I would just
Yes,
like
Madam Vice President.
to say that maybe going forward, if it's not this budget cycle, maybe for sure next year, we need to build this into our
Yes, we do.
pay, and take the guesswork out of this.
Well, and
It's
we,
pay we give them, and they've earned it, and to try to come up with the money every year and be creative, and people get a little afraid, like, are you gonna come up with it, are we gonna get our LP pay, and so on. I'd like to include it in salaries.
well, we can certainly look at that. I mean, yeah, I mean, we can certainly talk about that at budget time, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it is salary,
It is.
what it is.
And why is it just allocated twice a year? Because we've always done it that way.
Well,
That's true.
it came from the casino.
Yeah.
That's,
Right. Something extra in addition to the salaries that we have always painfully made sure that we gave that to our employees.
Well, we always did, but it's
So,
just such a moving target, and it would be nice to just include it in there.
it's also nice to get that right before Christmas or
You
something.
know, well, they're biweekly
that's exactly what
salaries,
they
and
wanted.
just build it
I
in.
mean,
First
It's
pay
a
in
wonderful-
December.
I
right.
have not seen a policy that says anything about it.
Well, it might be easier to allocate if we're giving it every 2 weeks instead of just twice a year.
Mhm.
Because we're coming up with these huge, large sums, which is, I think, is a little more difficult to account around than it
True.
would be every 2 weeks.
keep in mind longevity is based on the person, not the position.
Right.
Oh, the years of service, yes, yes.
Yes.
Roll it into the salary, we have to sort of come up with a two-tiered salary ordinance.
That's why.
Yeah, I guess
think we
so.
do this way. I think we
Paying
did.
big bucks.
I think when we approach it,
Yeah.
hold on. When
I think we
we
discussed it.
approach our budget sessions, we can certainly talk about a budgeted longevity, you know.
Right, line item.
But I just think she's right, it would be a bit of a,
No, you're both right. We need to budget for it, not out of Riverboat, but she's right, it'd be an accounting nightmare to try and keep track of it, so. Once or twice a year, whatever we want, but we
Well,
budget for it, not.
It's really not. We do it across the street here, and have always done it that way.
How's that?
It's in everybody's pay.
You ever look at her?
Now, you get a salary ordinance, you have salaries, and then you have longevity pay.
Sure, I said, Bob, Dan, you make all additionals come out of Riverboat.
There you go.
If there, it's there, if it's not, you don't get it.
Well, Dan said that, or you?
no, Jim said that.
Okay, all right. Is it the policy manual to get longevity?
No,
So, all
no.
right, second reading, please.
I don't think you'd ever give me credit for that.
Oh, that's true. Second reading, please.
Whereas it has been determined that it's not necessary to appropriate more money than what is appropriated in the annual budget, therefore, be it ordained resolved by Porter County Council of Porter County that for the expenses of the following additional sums of money are hereby Riverboat Fund, $161,612. Tobacco Fund, $37,295. Ineligible Homestead Fund, $160,000. For the Incentive Fund, $10,000. Park Grant Fund, $10,000. JDAI Grant Fund, $60,955. Park Bicentennial Fund, $73,143. And that concludes second reading.
What's your pleasure on second reading?
Move.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Papera.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Councilmember Conover.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Grant.
Yes.
And Councilmember Jessen.
Yes.
6-0.
Thank you. Before we go to the attorney's report, I'm not sure we did our approval of the July 2016 minutes. I think I may have bumped.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion and a second on the floor to approve our July 2016 minutes. Any errors or corrections? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Attorney's report. Do you have anything for us tonight, Harold?
I do not have anything for the council tonight, but I will sit down and meet with Pam and prepare some information for the council on these exempt versus non-exempt issues.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Mr. President?
We did one on the table. I'm sorry, was that?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
In that regard, there's always been a cloud under chief deputies. I would like some clarification on that. Of who, they're appointed by the office holder, are they exempt, non-exempt, et cetera, et cetera. It always seems to be about the chief deputies rather than...
That's your task, Harold, should you choose to accept this mission. Any other matter that may properly come before the council? Council review of levy limits and tax caps per IC 6-1.1-17-3.6. And Vicki, I think this was...
As you may fondly remember, in previous years, the council was tasked with what was called a non-binding review of other taxing units, tax rates or budgets. And you had to review their budgets and their levies and their tax rates, and you had to give a recommendation. The law has...
Or finger wagging, as we used to like to call it.
Yes, yes.
Tongue lashing. I thought it was tongue lashing.
It was non-binding. And so the law has changed. The law changed a number of steps in the budget process this year. But the
Let's
one
just
that-
focus on this one for...
Pardon me?
Let's just stick to this. Tell us what this is.
Yes, but the one that is on the topic tonight
Yes.
is this one. Pursuant to the law, at the first meeting in August, you must review the estimates of the maximum levies and the tax cap circuit breaker, the estimated tax cap next year for each of the taxing units. It's not a binding review or non-binding review, but you may or may not give a recommendation. If you do not give a recommendation, then the law requires that I distribute the minutes of this meeting to all of the taxing units. If you do give a recommendation, then either your office or my office will send out the recommendation to each of the taxing units.
Okay.
So why we're doing this, I believe, is because you're looking at what the state says each taxing unit will be allowed to raise in property taxes, the maximum level. But then you're also looking at how much they're going to lose because of the tax cap cut. And this is the first year that all taxing units, like the city of Valparaiso, the library, county, we have to build in the tax caps in our budget paperwork. So when we tell you how much you have to cut in the general fund and the CPD and health budget, that will incorporate the estimate of the tax cap.
But this is still, in theory, non-binding.
Correct, and it's all estimated at this point. The state releases before we certify the levies. The levies are going to go up, and even though the levies are going up, that could mean reduced tax rates preliminarily. I believe the county tax rate is going to go down again for, I think, the fourth year in a row.
Yes.
But first meeting in August?
Wait a minute, let's really get our heads around that. The county tax rate is going down again for the fourth year in a row.
Fourth year in a row.
I believe that is correct. I believe that's correct.
The county tax rate.
We're
You
supposed
don't have
to,
any control over the schools.
Right, just the county portion of the tax rate's going down again for the
we're
fourth.
supposed to review at the first meeting in August?
Yes.
This is the first meeting in August.
I've not seen anything.
You're saying it now. This is our first meeting in August,
But, yeah,
no?
it's non-binding if we're late.
It's kind of the same as...
Don't recommend, because in your minute, your thoughts have to go to the entity.
So, Bob, what are you wanting to do, Bob?
This whole thing about binding, non-binding is,
We moved to the comical stage.
Vicki, did these numbers...
one day, if we're sitting here long enough.
Okay, all right, Bob.
And how accurate are these numbers that the state is telling you to put on this piece of paper?
The maximum levy is $30.
Okay, but how about this tax cap impact?
They are estimates only. Now, for your funds, for informational purposes, we included this year's estimate just to show what the...
I don't see it. I'm hunting for it.
The state has said, I believe it's fair to say, the state has said that they are being very conservative. The growth quotient went up higher than it was this year, and that's why we're estimating that units are going to be losing more because of the tax rate.
Well, given the fact that this is non-binding, and I doubt very seriously that anybody on this list really cares what we think, they've got their own problems, perhaps we could just cut to the chase. So Vicki, I guess, how many of these are over the maximum estimated maximum levy?
It's not, it's just a statement of what the
Okay.
max levy is.
Okay.
You're not looking at their proposed budget.
Okay.
You're looking at what the state says, based on raising property taxes, and what the state thinks they're going to be cut in property taxes.
Wow.
Okay.
And
My recommendation would be...
action?
Yeah, go ahead.
if I may just point
Yes,
out,
please,
that the statute required that, or requires that the council simply review the levy limits that are contained in Vicki's, council review levy limits and tax caps, and review the estimate, which is also contained in there. That's all the statute requires, is that at the first meeting in August, that those be reviewed by the council. So what it boils down to is that, have you reviewed them? If you've reviewed them, then we've complied with the statute. The only other point that's required, or that's necessary by the statute, is that if any of the taxing units that are described there attend the meeting today,
Yes.
today's meeting, if they want to comment, they'd be allowed to comment. And that's, other than that, that's what the statute requires, are those three things. They'd be allowed to review, and then if they have any comments on those,
What Vicki is speaking to, if we give no recommendation, then she has some required follow-up. And so my recommendation is don't increase the property taxes.
Absolutely.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
If it's, I guess, are you looking for a motion, or are you looking for it out of our heads, or what are we?
Do we have to do anything?
Anywhere in the recommendation from the state, they talk about the purpose of the review and what might potentially come from it?
not that I saw, at least in the
Oh, no, you know where this is going. If you sit here long enough, we're gonna be approving every municipal budget in this county.
Yeah, but, I mean, historically, we have those non-bindings, and actually, I mean, you know, rather tongue-in-cheek, it's non-binding. I mean, we can,
I hope we get paid more.
we get that, we can give them the finger wagging and tell them not to increase taxes, but perhaps it's just another set of eyes on it, and there have been a couple of times that in our non-binding review, we've seen something that seems a little extraordinary, and the entity has come up and said, well, yeah, but this is what's happening, or that's what's happening, and it, you know, whether we bought into that or not, at least the question was asked. And, you know, so it's not completely fruitless. However, the net result is it doesn't really matter what we do. I mean, it just doesn't.
Well, it matters that we do it, it doesn't matter what we say.
And we've done it.
Right. So I guess my question is, so this is different than what it's been. This is different. It's a different process. I want to make sure we don't blow it. So if we make a sort of a blanket recommendation that the taxing entities do not increase property taxes, is that enough?
I believe that we certainly can do that. I don't think the statute even requires it. The statute requires that after the review by the council at this particular meeting, and this is just from a legal perspective,
Right.
okay? That we review those levies, and that we, if there's any representatives of those bodies that want to comment, they'd be allowed to comment, and that the fiscal body may prepare and distribute a written recommendation for the taxing unit.
So here's my suggestion. Is there anybody here, for the minutes, is there anybody here from any of these taxing authorities that wishes to speak as to their maximum levy?
So there must be some sort of disconnect, because obviously they're not getting.
Well, they never come to the binding part anyway. The non-binding, they never show. Yeah, Dave will come for a couple of those. And then I guess my second thought would be, we either do nothing, we've reviewed it now, we've looked at them, here they are, or do you want to give some sort of recommendation that they do not increase their maximum levy?
Written recommendation, Vicki would
Well,
have to
you know what,
supply them.
I
would make a
Speaking for me personally, I have a difficult time making any type of recommendation to another board whose responsibilities, in regard to that matter, I know nothing of.
Based on no knowledge whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Having said all of that, we're doing that at non-bindings, and as a fiscal conservative, I would like to encourage and recommend to the taxing authorities that they not increase their maximum levy. Because that's what we do. And I would like them to follow our example. I'm going to talk slowly in case somebody's taking this down. I would like for them to follow our example and not increase the maximum levy.
Second. He can't make a motion, I'll make that motion.
All right. And there's a second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to say no because they're a tax spender?
I don't want to speak for another governmental unit.
We're not, and we're not yet. We're just making a recommendation that they try.
Yeah, not to do it unless it's necessary in their eyes.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, you can.
I noticed Kevin Pazer's in the audience, and he was here today at the commissioners' meeting, and you made an announcement. Would you like to say something to him?
Hey, in fact, I was going to ask, is this where I submit my 8.5 years backlog of overtime?
Go ahead. There you go.
Not to take up any more of your evening, but I do have a little bit of information here for you to
We don't
keep
get counted.
as reference. I'm counting this, don't worry. And I guess for Jeremy, if he has a chance to take a look, just want you to be aware that I've had the pleasure, and I don't know if I need to state my name for the record, Kevin Matthew Pazer, Executive Director of Porter County Museum. I have been appointed by the Indiana Historical Society and the Indiana Historical Bureau as the official Porter County historian. The folder explains a little bit of what the role is. It's unpaid, but it really is an honor. I'm the 5th person to serve in this capacity. I also hold the distinction of being the youngest in the state and also the first to be born after the program was founded in 1981. So I feel very honored to be here.
I have socks older than that.
I will tell you, I've taken this opportunity to get in front of every town and city council in Porter County just to make people aware of the role of the county historian, but also the work that's going on at the Porter County Museum. At this point, I've had a chance to speak in front of Ogden Dunes, Chesterton, Porter, Burns Harbor, also Beverly Shores and Dune Acres. In fact, I'd like to go on record, too, that I had the opportunity to meet Bob's better-looking older brother. His words, not mine, for the record.
Are they going to put the marker in?
They are.
They're going to put the marker in?
Yeah, which I think is exciting, and I've offered that if there's anything we can do officially as the Porter County Museum, we'd love to do that. I just think it's important. We've got a great history here. Not to throw a whole lot at you, but I learned something about this council, maybe not this exact council, but how you came to be. I did not realize that it was Governor Mount in 1899 that established county councils throughout the entire state of Indiana.
Also, the first year Sylvia was elected.
I did want to say it, but I think it's really cool in a way, although at that time you were only required to meet once a year in September, but you followed the same format that was established in 1899, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to say this, I mean, Kevin, I went to your picnic at the museum, Jam Museum, very cool, and he was doing tours around town of some of the historical sites, and I think that was really kind of cool.
And I think it's important to note, too, that there's great history outside of just the county seat. And I'm committed, both in my role as Porter County historian and executive director, to get out and make sure people realize there's some cool stuff that's happened here. And it's all part of our history. So I'm just really thankful to be here and to come before you.
And
So
I'd like
thank you.
to toot your horn, too. You do a lot of work with our school children in the classroom setting.
It's important. Yeah, it really is. And we're going to continue that work. And I think, if anything, we will increase what we do. And it really just is an honor to be here.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for your
Thank
work.
you.
It's really-
Thank
it's
you.
really great.
Thank you for having to do this. I can't imagine having to do this, maybe this is off the record. What you go through.
No, there's things we're going.
But thank you.
All right, thanks.
Why are you gonna bring my brother in?
That having been said, I believe we've reached the end of our meeting, so.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
How about our next meeting?
So Kevin, I have a